know from experience that termites obviously favor slabs. 9 times out of 10, those termites will be found under this front porch. Because unfortunately, contractors find it a lot less expensive to bury their cellulose debris, their shingles, their packaging, their 2x4s that were cut, not used, boots, beer cans, anything, lunch bags, underneath the porch, and then they pour the slab on top of that. Isn't that convenient?
At the time the home was built.
At the time the home was built, exactly. So what that does is, of course, give the termite and other insects plenty of food debris to eat on. That's why you'll notice a lot of porches are settling and are sinking away from the home. It's because that cellulose material has decomposed.
Okay.
Either naturally or by being eaten by insects. So what we do is we're going to look at this as we approach the entrance, and I'm going to look at this door frame, because those termites will come up behind this slab and go in after the floor, the bandboards, floor joist, as well as the hardwood floor in here. So as I walk in here, I'm looking at the doorway, at the door frame, and I'm going to look at the drywall above the door. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little flashlight. You don't need to have a big spotlight to do this either, by the way. You can do this yourself. And I'm just going to hold this flashlight like this. And what this is going to do is show any imperfections in this drywall. Okay? There's going to be bubbles, there will be some rays, there will be some sort of imperfection in here if there are termites in behind this. And why would there be termites behind this? See, like this. There would be termites behind this because they're eating the paper backing off of this drywall. And so far I don't see anything. That's a good sign. That doesn't mean that they're not here, they're just not visible at this time. The other thing that I look at, and I can't look underneath this vinyl tile, but the one thing I can look at is as I pull this vent away, I'm going to have some access now to some wood. I don't see any evidence. So, but I will make a mental note of the position of this door and the fact that I could not look at this, so that when I enter the basement, I'm going to look at this area adjacent to the door. This is my hot spot, as is the garage, as is the back patio, because again, those concrete slabs hold moisture and they attract termites. Okay, so we're inside the garage right now, so some of those areas that we want to look at, just adjacent to this wall is the exterior. We had a downspout that was coming down out here, and of course it was not diverted away from the foundation. Again, it's bad because now we've got moisture, we've got wood, cellulose material, and we've got a concrete slab that these termites love to thrive on. So this is going to be the hot spot. I want to look at this sill plate, and I'm looking for a mud tube. And a mud tube basically is comprised of termite feces, soil, and wood that has been pre-mastificated, that has been chewed up. And then they mix that with their saliva and they form a tube in which they can travel. And that holds the moisture in, the humidity that they need to thrive out of the ground. So that's what they use, their little super highway, so to speak, their little subway from the ground, because they are subterranean termites now, to the wood source that they can then travel back to the ground with, to their colony, and feed the colony with once they've secured some wood. So this crack along here is sufficient for termites to come up through. Now, another thing that we can do is probe and or sound when we're doing termites. If I were to see something that I would suspect would be activity, I would then pull out my trusty knife and or a screwdriver, and I would probe that. And I would do this because I'm looking for soft spots in the wood. Obviously, I'm not finding any here. This is fresh. The other thing I would do is sound. And I'm sounding that because I'm listening for hollow. Here's a 2x4 extending into the ground. This is a form. Okay? So this would be a hot spot for those termites to come up. And again, I'm not seeing any.
And you probe that because the termites won't eat to the surface, they'll stay below the surface, right?
They'll stay hidden for the most part because they don't want to be exposed to the elements, and that mud tube, which subsequently then cause them to dry out and die.
So even though they've eaten a large piece of wood, you wouldn't necessarily know that.
You wouldn't know that. That whole 2x4 would be hollowed out until you probe and or sound to give you an indication that it needs to be probed. And then you would find, obviously, termite infestation within that window.
I see.
So again, I'm looking, look at this. So here we've got a crack in the foundation. We also have staining. So I don't know if that staining came in from outside or it could have been caused by something inside, but I'm seeing moisture along this foundation. Do you see that moisture?
Mm-hmm. And the concrete?
Yeah,
on
you
top
see
of
that?
it.
Right there and there. Again, don't know if they spilled something, but that would be cause to have a home inspector. So now we're in the basement, and this is the area underneath the house that we saw the porch extending.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is the area that I want to pay particular attention to, because behind this foundation wall is probably where all that debris has been buried during time of construction, right? So that's all decomposing. So what I want to do then is I'm going to look at this very carefully. Now I've already pre-inspected this and pulled the insulation away from the baseboard and off the sill plate and found nothing behind there. But that is critical. So what we want to do is we'll always pull that away from there and make sure we don't have any activity going on behind there as well. Now you see the staining on this wall?
Yes.
Now this was done during the construction phase. And you can tell that because of course the age of the stain. And that just, after decades of inspection, that's basically my determination. So, okay, so I'm traveling over now to the far end of the porch. The other thing that I look at while I'm in the basement is this crevice again. We've got a nice crevice around here. A termite only needs 1/64 of an inch to penetrate. That's the area beneath your thumb and your thumbnail for a termite to come through. So remember that when you're looking at your home, you want to look at these cracks and crevices, as well as look at this. Here's a separation. And I'm glad that this is here, because had this basement been finished, this would be under carpet. Okay, they would have carpet pad laid down, they would then have their carpet line on top of this, and some 2x4 studs and framing and walls.
And you'd never see it.
You would never see those termites when they came up through this crevice, and they would then be eating from the inside out. The other hot spot would be sewer stacks and plumbing stacks. Where these come up out of the ground, typically we will find activity on, especially in the older homes. Newer homes not as much because of the construction practices that have been adapted, but oftentimes we'll find these around the mud tubes coming up around older homes, and also on the support beams. Now you'll notice too, I want to point this out, that in older homes, basically 50 years ago and back, they used to set the steps, the stair runners, on the ground. Sometimes there were gravel under there, most of the time they were on soil. And then as an afterthought, they came in and poured their concrete floor. So what you have then is you have these stair runners sitting on exposed soil and then covered with concrete, which gave termites more than enough reason and a vehicle in which to come then up, eat through that, and then work their way up into the rest of the house. So thank God they've adjusted that construction practice by pouring the floor first and then building on top of that concrete. Okay, so now we're inside. Remember that line coming out of the foundation that I suspected was a sump? It was a sump.
So when you come out, not only do you check for termites, you check for what other kind of organisms usually?
I'm looking for rots, any wood-destroying insect, either major or minor, such as wood rots, white, red, green wood rot. The other thing is to look for, obviously we keep our eyes open for rodents, any animal activity that might be in a home, and also powder post beetles, carpenter ants, carpenter bees, as well as termites.
Are you seeing an increase in carpenter bees? We're seeing more carpenter bee issues lately in the last couple of years.
You know, we've seen an increase in all pest activity lately, and it's because of the changes in regulations with the use of the products that they're using today.
If you do have to have a termite treatment, you find wood-destroying insects in the home, how often after that do you need to have the home inspected or retreated, or what's the process?
When we treat a home for termites, we do that by drilling a 5/8 inch diameter hole. It's about the diameter of your pinky, 12 to 15 inches apart, around the exterior concrete of the home. And then we also then rod and or trench and spray the perimeter soil around the house with termiticide. Those holes are then patched, and that warranty is transferred to that homeowner, and it runs for a lifetime. It is a limited lifetime retreatment warranty. That means, and it's transferable too, by the way, to subsequent owners, we will come out every year, re-inspect the house. And if termites are found, we're back out retreating. The only additional cost is that annual renewal fee, usually anywhere between $95 and $150 a year.
So you're not paying for an additional treatment,
Not
you
at
just
all.
pay to have it.
You're paying for
okay.
the warranty on that. We
Interesting.
re-inspect, and if termites are found, we're back out retreating at no additional cost to you. And when you go to sell that house or transfer title to anybody, that warranty stays with that home. And a lot of companies charge assumption fees. We waive assumption fees.
When it transfers to the new
When
owner?
it transfers to that new owner, all they need to do is contact us by email, by phone, or in writing. Let us know their name and their phone number and the address that they've assumed the warranty on. We'll prepare that paperwork for them free of charge and send that out to them.
Perfect. James, thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, Dan.